All right, boys. Part two of second part. Second part matter. We were on um, lean startup chapter first. Was studying about who are entrepreneurs, and thing is, I can't design a prototype and start testing it whether it's gonna work in our audience or no, because um I don't know what it is yet. I just know that I'm gonna make something a software company or whatever, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's gonna do. I don't know anything. I just know that I'm gonna do it. That's it. That's all I know. So yeah, I'm gonna do it. Let's begin. Lean startup. If I'm an entrepreneur, what's a startup? The lean startup is a set of practices for helping entrepreneurs to increase their odds of building a successful startup. To set the record straight, it is important to define what a startup is. A startup is a human institution designed to create a new product or service under conditions of extreme uncertainty. Well, ain't that the truth? I have come to realize that most important part of this definition is what it omits. It says nothing about size of the company, industry, or the sector of the economy. Anyone who is Wait a second, there's nothing about the size of company, industry, sector, or economy. Anyone who is creating a new product or business under conditions of extreme uncertainty is an entrepreneur, whether he or she knows it or no. And whether working in a government agency, a venture-backed company, a non-profit, or a decidedly for-profit company with financial investors. Well, I just said, well, it proves that I am an entrepreneur. Before I started reading this, I just said that I don't know what it is, but I just know that I'm gonna do it. Anyways, let's look at each of the pieces. The word institution connotes bureaucracy, process, even lethargy. How can that be a part of a startup? Yet successful startups are full of activities associated with building an institution, hiring employees, coordinating activities, creating a company culture that delivers results. We often lose sight of the fact that a startup is not just about a product or a technological breakthrough or even a brilliant idea. A startup is greater than some of its parts. It is an acutely human enterprise. The fact that a startup's product or service is a new innovation is also an essential part of the definition and tricky part too. I prefer to use the broadcast definition of product, one that encompasses any source of value of the product for the people who become customers. Anything those customers experience from their interaction with a company should be considered part of the company's product. This is true of a grocery store, e-commerce website, and a consulting service, and a non-profit social service agency. In every case, the organization is dedicated to uncovering a new source of value for customers and cares about the impact of its product on those customers. It is also important that the word innovation be understood broadly. Startups use many kinds of innovation: novel scientific discoveries, repurposing an existing technology for a new use, devising a new business model that unlocks value that was hidden, or simply bringing a product or service to a new location or a previously underserved set of customers. In all these cases, innovation is at heart of the company's success. There is one more important part of this definition: the context in which the innovation happens. Most businesses, large and small, confront situations of extreme uncertainty. To open up a new business that is an exact clone of an existing business, all the way down to the business model, pricing, target customer, product, maybe an attractive economic investment, but it is not a startup because its process depends only on, on execution, so much so that this success can be modeled with high accuracy. This is why so many small businesses can be financed with simple bank loans. The level of risk and uncertainty is understood well enough that a loan officer can assess its prospects. Yeah, sounds fair enough. Most tools from general management are not designed to flourish in the harsh soil of extreme uncertainty in which startups thrive. The future is unpredictable, boys. Customers face a growing array of alternatives, and the pace of changing is ever increasing. Yet, most startups in garages and enterprises alike still are managed by using standard forecasts, product milestones, and detailed business plans. This Snaptax story. In 2009, a startup decided to try something really audacious. They wanted to liberate taxpayers from expensive tax stores by automating the process of collecting information typically based found on W2 forms, the end of year statement that most employees receive from their employer that summarizes their taxable wages for the year. The startup quickly ran into difficulties, even though many consumers had a process to a printer scanner in their home or office. Knew how to use those devices. After numerous conversations with potential customers, the team lit upon the idea of having customers take photographs of the forms directly from their cell phone. In the process of testing this concept, customers asked sometime unexpected, would it be possible to finish our whole tax return right on the phone call itself? Not an easy task. Traditional tax preparation requires consumers to wade through hundreds of questions, many forms, and a lot of paperwork. This startup tried something novel by deciding to ship an early version of its products that could do much less than a complex tax package. The initial version worked only for consumers with a very simple return to file, and it worked only in California. Instead of having consumers fill out a complex form, they allowed customers to use a phone scanner to take a picture of their W2 forms. Simple picture, the company developed technology to compile and file most of the 1040 easy tax return compared with drudgery of traditional tax filing. The SnapTax provides a magical experience. From its modest beginning, SnapTax grew into a significant startup success story. In nationwide launch in 2011 showed that customers loved it to the tune more than 350,000 downloads in the first 3 weeks. God damn it. This is the kind of amazing innovation you'd expect from a new startup. However, the name of this company may surprise you. SnapTax by Intuit, America's largest producer of finance, tax, and accounting tools for individuals and small businesses with more than 700 employees, 7,700 employees and annual revenues in billions. Intuit is not a typical startup. The fuck is that? Intuit. Financial confidence. Intuit is an American multinational business software company that specializes in financial software. The company is headquartered in Mountain View, California. CEO is Sasan Kutarzi. Stock price at Nasdaq 632 US. CFO founder Scott D. Cook Tom Prolix. Founded in 83. TurboTax, Credit Karma, QuickBooks, MailChimp. MailChimp? What in the fuck is MailChimp doing here? What? MailChimp is MailChimp is integrated with Intuit? God damn, bro. What in the fuck is this? A financing software. Anyways, the team that built SnapTax doesn't look much like the archetypal image of entrepreneurs either. They don't work in a garage or eat ramen noodles. Their company doesn't lack for resources. They're not paid a full salary and benefits. They come into a regular office every day, yet they're entrepreneurs. Stories like this one are not nearly as common inside large corporations as they should be. After all, SnapTax competes directly with one of Intuit's flagship products, the fully featured TurboTax desktop software. Usually, companies like Intuitive fall into the trap of very good at creating huh, trap described in Clayton Christensen's Christensen's Innovator's Dilemma. They're very good at creating incremental improvements to existing products serving existing customers, which he called sustaining innovation, but struggle to create breakthrough new products, disruptive innovation that can create new sustainable source of growth. One remarkable part of Snapdragon's story is that the team leaders said when I asked them to account for their unlikely success, did they hire superstar entrepreneurs outside the company? No. They assembled a team from within Intuitive. Did they face constant meddling from senior management, which is the bane of innovation team in many companies? No. Their executive sponsors created an island of freedom where they could experiment as necessary. Did they have a huge team, a large budget, or lots of marketing dollars? No. They started the team of five. For a large Snapdrag's team to innovate was not their genes, destiny, or astrological signs, but the process deliberately facilitated by Intuitive senior management. Innovation is a bottoms up, decentralized, unpredictable thing. But that doesn't mean it cannot be managed. It can. But to do so requires a new management discipline, one that needs to be mastered not just by practicing entrepreneurs seeking to build the next big thing, but also by the people who support them, nurture them, and hold them accountable. In other words, continuing entrepreneurship is the responsibility of senior management. Today, a cutting edge companies such as Intuitive can point to success stories like Snapdrags because it has recognized the need for a new management paradigm. This is realization that was years in the making. A 7,000 person lean startup. All right, what to finish it. In 83, Intuitive founder, the legendary entrepreneur Scott Cook, had the radical notion with co-founder Tom that personal accounting should happen by computer. Their success was far from inevitable. They faced numerous competitors, uncertain future. They faced competitors in 83? Fucking hell. Uncertain future and an initially tiny market. Tiny market. A decade later, the company went public and subsequently fended off well-publicized attacks from large incumbents, including the software behemoth Microsoft. Partly with the help of famed venture capitalist John, Intuitive became a fully diversified enterprise, a member of the Fortune 1000 that now provides dozens of market-leading products across its major divisions. This is the kind of entrepreneurial success we are used to hearing about. A ragtag team of underdogs who eventually achieve fame, acclaim, and significant riches. Flash forward to 2002, Cook was frustrated. He had just tabulated 10 years of data on all of Intuitive's new product introductions, and he concluded that the company was carrying a measly return on its massive investments. Simply put, too many of its new products were failing. By traditional standards, Intuitive is an extremely well managed company, but as Scott dug into the root causes of those failures, he came to a difficult conclusion. The prevailing management paradigm he and his company had been practicing was inadequate to the problem of continuous innovation in the modern economy. In the fall 2009, he had been working to change its management culture for 7 years. He came across my early work on the lean startup, asked me to give a talk at Intuitive in Silicon Valley. This is not the kind of invitation for turn down. I admit I was curious. I was still at the beginning of my startup journey. I didn't have much appreciation for the challenges faced by Fortune 1000 company like this. My conversations with him and Intuitive Chief Executive Officer Brad Smith were my initiation into thinking of modern general managers who struggle with entrepreneurship every bit as much as do venture capitalists and founders at Garage. To combat these challenges, Scott and Brad are going back to into its roots. They are working to build entrepreneurship and risk taking into all their divisions. TurboTax doesn't most of its sales around tax season in US. It used to have an extremely conservative culture over the states. Over the course of the years, the marketing and product teams would conceive one major initiative that would be rolled out just in time for tax season. Now they test over 500 different changes in a 2.5 month tax season. They are running up to 70 different tests per week. The team can make a change live on its website on Thursday, run it over on the weekend, read the results on Monday, come to conclusions starting Tuesday, then they rebuild new tests on Thursday and launch the next set on Thursday night. boy, the amount of learning they get is just immense now. And what it does is develop entrepreneurs, because when you have only one test, you don't have entrepreneurs, you have politicians, because you have to sell. Out of 100 good ideas, you got to sell your idea. So you build up a society of politicians and salespeople. When you have 500 tests, you're running, then everybody's idea can run. And then you create entrepreneurs who run and learn and can retest and relearn, as opposed to society and politicians. So we are trying to drive that throughout our organization using examples which have nothing to do with high tech, like the website example. Every business today has a website. You don't have to be a high tech to use fast cycle testing. This kind of change is hard. After all, the company has a significant number of existing customers who continue to demand exceptional service and investors who expect steady growing returns. Scott says it goes against the grain of what people have been taught in business and what leaders have been taught. The problem isn't with teams or the entrepreneurs. They love the chance to quickly get their baby out into the market. They love the chance to have the customer vote instead of the suits voting. The real issue is with the leaders and the middle managers. There are many business leaders who have been successful because of analysis. They think they're analysts. Their job is to do great planning and analyzing and have a plan. The amount of time a company can count on holding onto market leadership to exploit its earlier innovation is shrinking, and this creates an imperative for even the most entrenched companies to invest in innovation. In fact, I believe a company's only sustainable path to long-term economic growth is to build an innovation factory that uses lean startup techniques to create disruptive innovations on a continuous basis. In other words, the established companies need to figure out how to accomplish what Scott did in '83, but on industrial scale and with an established cohort of managers and steeped in traditional management culture. After the Maverick Cook asked me to put these ideas into test, so I gave a talk that was simulcast to all 7,000 plus Intuit employees, during which I explained the theory of lean startup, repeating my definition on an organization designed to create new product services under conditions of extreme uncertainty. What happens next is actually, in my memory, CEO Brad had been sitting next to me as I spoke. When I was done, got up and said before all of his employees, "Folks, listen up. You heard his definition of startup. It has three parts, and we here at Intuit match all three parts of that definition. Scott and Brad are leaders who realize that something new is needed in management thinking. Intuit is proof that this kind of thinking can work in established companies. Brad explained to me that how they hold to themselves accountable for their new innovation or efforts by measuring two things: the number of customers using products that didn't exist 3 years ago, and the percentage of revenue coming from offerings that didn't exist 3 years ago. Under the old model, it took an average of 5.5 years for a successful new product to start generating 50 million in revenue. He explained to me, we generated 60 million in offerings that didn't exist 12 months ago in the last year. Now, it's not one particular offering, it's a combination of a whole bunch of innovation happening. But that's the kind of stuff that's creating some energy for us, that we think we can truly short circuit and the ramp by killing things that don't make sense fast and doubling down on the ones that do. For a company as large as Intuit, these are modest results in early days. They have decades of legacy systems and legacy thinking to overcome. However, their leadership in adopting entrepreneurial management is starting out to pay off. Leadership requires creating conditions that enable employees to do the kinds of experimentation that entrepreneurship requires. For example, changes in TurboTax enable the intuitive team to develop 500 experimentations per tax season. Before that, marketers with great ideas couldn't have done those tests, even if they'd wanted to, because they didn't have a system in place through which to change the website rapidly. Intuit invested in systems that increase the speed at which tests could be built, deployed, and analyzed. Cook says developing these experimentation systems is a responsibility of senior management. They have to be put in the leadership. It's moving leaders from paying Cesar with their thumbs up and down on every idea to instead putting in the culture and the system so that teams can move and innovate at the speed of the experimentation system. Learn. Alright, boys. I think I have to start designing it from tomorrow and then putting it out into the world as soon as I can, because that's the only way I can attract something like a. We have to attract people, right? We have to attract. I have to attract a developer. I have to attract attention. I have to attract customers. All right, and I'm gonna design a prototype um, tomorrow or the first day of next week, and then I'm just gonna start putting it out into the world, and I'll start getting feedback. Alright, boys, I'll see you tomorrow.